Thank you for joining me. This is the Changemaker podcast, where we talk all things change management and transformation. My name is Sasha Jovanovic, and in each episode, we'll feature a single big idea from emerging practice and global thought leadership so that you have something useful to take away for work today. Tomorrow, we head into the first day of our Easter break, which is a time that we continue spending with our families, but as we reflect on renewal and new life. In the current times of COVID-19, that seems especially relevant to do so. And so I wanted to spend today doing something a bit different as we look at one of the greatest thought leaders of all time, Leonardo da Vinci. Now, this dude is amazing. Not only did he paint the most famous painting ever made, the Mona Lisa, he painted the most famous religious painting ever, the Last Supper, and of course the Vitruvian Man. But it was his Salvator Mundi, which also sold for a record $450.3 million at Christie's just in 2017, making this the highest price ever paid for a work of art. His genius wasn't limited to art, however. He was also a scientist, mathematician, engineer, inventor, anatomist, painter, sculptor, architect, musician, and writer, with ease to move between all those domains, which scholars believe was based on his empirical method, his logic. This was quite unorthodox at the time. Remember, this was a time in the world where people still thought the earth was flat. Well, actually, those people still exist, but that's a whole nother video. Da Vinci was so forward thinking, he was almost a futurist. He was discovering and inventing things before they had been invented or understood as far as you and I know it today. You know, in 1487, he designed the fighting vehicle, 400 years before we invented it for World War I, and called it a tank. His version had 36 guns in a conical design operated by cranks and wheels, and the BBC did a documentary trying to rebuild that based on his very detailed drawings. They only managed to do so by changing one of the gears, which we now know that was an intentional error to stop unauthorized use. Arguably, he also designed the first ever humanoid robot, which was a mechanical knight. He invented the diving suit, the parachute, the dynamometer to measure wind speed, the helicopter and landing gear, the machine gun, a car which he called the self-propelled cart. Over 200 anatomical drawings. He was the first person to correctly define the double S human backbone, to correctly work out blood flow, and the heart valves. And that's just 10 of the things, of so many more. Really, really interesting fellow. And arguably, our life today would not be as far as we know it if it wasn't for his willingness to challenge common wisdom, to drive for change. Scholars have researched how it is that one Renaissance man could be so influential. What is it that is unique about his way of thinking, and indeed about thinking? So Michael Gleb published a book, How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci, in which he defines 7 principles. The first is curiosita. Now, forgive my ridiculous Italian, but it means constantly questioning things and having an insatiable curiosity. Always asking the question, why? The next is dimostrazione, which is a commitment to testing knowledge, proving things out. Are they true? Are they false? The next is sensazione, continual refinement of the senses, such as sight. This is about clarifying experiences. The next one, sfumato. Now, I love this one because it's so fun to say, but it also has a cool meaning, which is a willingness to embrace ambiguity, paradox, uncertainty. There's a word for that. Next one is art scienza, which is about finding the balance between science, art, logic, imagination. It's really about the whole of brain thinking, left and right, together. Number 6, corporalita, the cultivation of ambidexterity, of fitness, of poise. This is an interesting one because now he moves out of his mind and into his body, proposing we cultivate the full scale of our physical capacity, from grace to physical prowess. And the last one, connessione, which is the connection or the recognition of the connectedness of all things. It's about systems thinking. Our ability to identify and to form new patterns. But here's the kicker. Just like his futurist thinking, he was also ahead of his time in his very manner of thinking, where those 7 principles are also defined in our approach to design thinking principles. So, as we head out into this Easter break, take Leonardo with you. maybe as a topic of conversation with your family, maybe in self-reflection as to what it means for you and I to become Renaissance thinkers and doers. Have a great break. Thanks for listening. My name is Sasha Jovanovic. This is Changemaker. Join me for the next episode.